Steve here. I've been watching a video of Jesse Dolomer, and he's got clips from the past where Stephen Miller has said things that he said this indicates that they're going to define Democrats as terrorists, and by doing that they'll be able to defund the Democratic Party, and it will be a one-party future with just Republicans. It's basically a King Trump type thing. It'll be like the Communist Party in Russia, where they have elections, but they don't mean anything. That's what will happen here. Maybe not. Something might intervene. Something unseen might happen. Like, for instance, the world realizes that team fairness is the answer. And so we could all stop pretending or we're trying to take over or whatever. People will just come back to their senses is what will happen. So that might happen. There could be something causing them to do that. My spiritual friend might make it happen in some way. A divine intervention, if you will. So people use the word divine intervention, and they talk about God Almighty, God's will, infallible will. And it matches up with superdeterminism in science. And there hasn't been spiritual atheism as a thing for all that long. There's been people leaning that way, like Spinoza, Meister Eckhart, the mystics. The mystics have always seen it like science. Somebody's telling them, because they're the ones that are really completely devoted to the will of God. That was the words of the time. And it was like their main purpose. It wasn't just go to church on Sunday. So they connected with these non-human intelligences. This is what I'm thinking is happening. So the people that use the God word and the language of the religions, that's okay, because I can interpret it. They just haven't updated yet, or they haven't been taught by the mystics enough yet to understand what it really is. So they're doing what they're told from the religion. I'm trying to prevent a catastrophe here for everyone. So I'm not looking at the extreme polarity division that we're in, and the fighting and the Civil War talk and the World War III talk. I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at political parties and political problems. I'm just looking at humans, and we all count the same. We all have a self that is the same self, the sacred self that I have. They also have that sacred self. It's what we are. It's who they are. It's their identity. It's my identity. Call it the soul if you want. So the USA government under the Constitution is proving to be problematic. This is why I suggest a fairness amendment to remedy the problem within the government and within the people. The same problem was within me. It still is. I fight it daily. My tendency to have unfair thoughts about other people. Like today, something happened in my mind and I'm thinking, what in the world, where did that thought come from? And it's something that I was familiar with when I was younger, the same kind of thinking. We grew up hearing thoughts that are very negative, abusive to other people, putting them down. And now I won't tolerate it. If I see it, it's immediately banished from my mind. Perish the thought is a phrase that we often hear. We used to hear that. So the Bible says the natural man is an offense to God. This is what I'm talking about. Now I can interpret that in what I think God is. It's the divine mind. It's those who serve truth and fairness, universal, not just human. So the angels are included from the Bible, or the gods are included from Hindu. So there's unfairness in the Democratic Party. If you want to hear about that, ask the Republicans. There's unfairness in the Republican Party. If you want to hear about that, ask the Democrats. And then test their claims for truth. Test their motives for what they're trying to do. When the country was founded, I can't remember who it was that said that the attorneys are like really bad. I don't remember the exact quote, but there's this mentality that attorneys always have caused problems. But, there's the idea like we have the worst form of government except for all the others, meaning that all forms of government are not good. So the thing that's appealing about the USA is that it's the first place where it was we the people that have the power. From the foundation of the thing up, it's we the people. I think that's the first time that ever happened. The government isn't placed first, the people are placed first. They knew the people were going to have to unite someday and straighten things out again. It's like, what was it? Jefferson said there needs to be a revolution every 20 years or something to keep it on the right path. Okay, so my take on this, that is what we need to do is establish the law of fairness. Because it's not just the government that's corrupt, it's the people that are corrupt. I've already explained my corruption that I'm working on. So when people realize that they're, to use biblical term, their unrighteousness, they're not right. They're not thinking right. They're being unfair. They're wrong. They're not right, they're wrong in what they're doing. They're doing wrong. It's the people. It's we the people that are doing wrong, and that's why the government went wrong. The attorneys are people that did wrong. From greed, from ambition, from fear. Fear is like the number one problem in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Fear that you won't get what you want. Fear that people will turn against you. Those kind of fears. Fears that you'll be doing it on your own. So, since we're in the same place, on the same planet, and what I do affects everyone, and what you do affects everyone, we realize that we need to cooperate to make this thing work. I just can't imagine the future of humanity being the same as it has been, where we're having wars against each other, in conflict between religions and types of government. Where bullying, fear tactics, control of others is the norm. The rulers of the nations it tends to become the biggest, baddest bully that becomes the leader. Just look at all the powerful nations on the planet. And the example is here now, with Trump as being the biggest, baddest bully. And that's what his followers want. You know, it's like Trump broke the law, so what? Nobody cares. They don't care anyway. I don't care because I don't want to get hurt by caring, and the government we have is incapable of doing anything about it. Why do they impeach people? It doesn't do anything. I don't understand them. When I was younger, I knew that it was a good thing that I wasn't in school. That I quit going to school and didn't even give it any credibility. Because in my mind, it didn't have any. Because I could see the way the world was going. So I didn't get indoctrinated. I left the church, so I'm not indoctrinated by the church. It's kind of like the system of universities is like a religion, in a sense, similar. Y'all have to speak the same way and learn the same things. And so then you're under the thumb of that system, and then you can start learning things on your own as long as you're within their framework. See, I'm not in their framework, and so I don't have any credibility to them. They don't have any credibility to me because they're in a corrupt system. All the people are indoctrinated into this world system so that you have to have the certificate. You have to have the degree. It's actually illegal to do things without a certificate. They've made laws that say, I'm not sure what the laws would be, but like if somebody was like the best, most skillful, helpful therapist. See, why do we even use their word? Healer, teacher. You know, that's kind of happening. That trend has begun. For me to try to write effectively, the way that the way that we learn how to write from the universities, I'm at a loss for words sometimes. That's why I use AI to do the thinking for me. It's like simulated thinking, I guess. So it would take up all the energy that I have, and I don't have enough. I wouldn't even get there, and I'd be out of gas. So I'd be out of energy, and I have to take a break. I have to get some sleep. I have to go silent for a while. See? Adrenal insufficiency. Pituitary tumors been removed. So I can't do it. And just this is an example of all the energy that goes into learning that system. And I'm not doing what I need to be doing. I'm doing that instead. So my intention was just learn it in here so that I understand the big picture. So my whole life has been geared toward that. And I have quite an uncanny knack for finding pages. I think I'm guided. I know I am. So I'm trying to find something. It appears. I made a comment on Jesse Dolomer's video that they're going to be labeling Democrats as terrorists. I think it's his newest one, maybe second to newest. But anyway, it's the Dollar Daily, Jesse Dolomer, and he's like explaining what they're doing, and so I made some comments I got from him from Spirit that he needs my help. So I put the key is truth and fairness. So they're not being truthful and fair. See, that's what, focus on that. Tell them you're not being truthful and fair, and however many words you want. Convert it into legalese or universityese or any kind of ease you want. But that's what it's about. That's all it's about. And don't let them complicate it, because it's not about anything else. It's about truth and fairness. So I commented how I'm not against them, but there's a universal force for fairness that they will be getting consequences from. See, I'm on this new position that I'm not against anyone. I think it's a major improvement. They count the same as Democrats. Republicans count the same as Democrats. MAGA people count the same as black people. MAGA people count the same as Hispanics, Latinos. The people that are here illegally, I don't think it's their fault. It's the fault of the corrupt government. I remember years ago, I met this older guy, and he seemed to be similar to me in visionary, having visions, and a connection, telepathic connection and so forth. And he told me, "You're going to have to go to Canada." And I thought, no way, that's crazy. And now I can see he was right. He knew. We have a lot of people in the USA that are moving to Canada because they don't want to be ruled by an authoritarian government. They'd rather have the cumbersome Democratic Party rather than authoritarian Republican Party. Republican doesn't have to be authoritarian. It can be anything it wants. It's a free country. So I'm wondering, why is it going this way? So I'm thinking, God moves in mysterious ways. To me, God is the oneness of everything. It's one thing. It's quantum entanglement. And so it's the one thing that is me in this form. And it is you in the form of you. It is ourself in the form of our sacred self. We're sacred. Atheists know we're sacred. See, they're onto this sacredness of the self and of the planet. So God moves in mysterious ways. And so I'm thinking, it had to go this way to get rid of the corruption in the Democratic Party, and it has to be this way so that the people realize what I've just been telling you, that we need to stop our own personal corruption by being fair and not being unfair. Our corruption is our unfairness. That's what it is. So that's maybe why it is how it is. I get from Spirit an impression like Charlie Kirk is on my side. And I think that's not possible, because he wants the Bible to win. And to me, the Bible is half evil and half good, and that we need to get rid of the evil side. Like, don't use the evil part of the Bible, and then you can keep it. You know, like is described in the World Fairness Agreement. Don't use any parts of this that are unfair to other people. The Jewish religion is based on that, the Talmud. It's like their secret book of the elite Jewish people, and apparently it's got provisions for child sexual abuse, child sex. That's abuse, in my opinion, because the child is not old enough to give consent. Sex needs to be consensual. No rape. We're in a culture of rape. I can't stand it. I hate it. I hate that people are okay with it. And if the women are okay with it, they're turning everyone evil, because it makes us more mean, more evil. Instead of George Bush, Grandpa George Bush, said a kinder, gentler nation. He became president. Look, where has that gone? He was Republican and a politician, so the politicians know how to lie, all of them. I don't know if Bernie Sanders lies. He might not. Seriously. But he's Jewish. Some of the most prominent atheists are Jewish. Because don't you think they could see how wrong that we're the supreme people and all the other people should be killed? That's what's in the Talmud. I think the Quran says that in so many words too. I think they copied it from the Talmud. That's who was going to kill them. They formed Islam in self-defense. That's my opinion. And the Jewish people formed that radical belief in self-defense from the tribal warfare that was surrounding them. So it was radical. And child sex. See, this is the Epstein Files thing. That this is like a taboo that we uphold. You're not to have sex with underage, whatever that age we have consensually decided upon. It's when you're focused on punishment instead of correction, it makes people more evil. They're already damaged from being born here. And so that's why with the transition day, we all agree to stop being unfair to others, and we're all exonerated. But not until. We don't have to be fair to everyone until then, because how could we compete with unfair people? I mean, it would be stupid to start being fair about everything and go bankrupt when nobody else is. So that's what the transition day is about. So that we can all understand what this is about before we do it. You know, an example would be like marriage came to mind. When you get married, you need to know the responsibilities of the thing first, right? So, you know, you can see why we have moral order like we do, but it's when you use it as a forced system instead of a helpful system. That's what I'm trying to say. So the moral guidance should be helpful, not harmful. And the key to this is truth and fairness. So when we can understand that the order is we're not to do others wrong, the law of fairness, then all this other stuff falls into that. So it all makes sense. It's human-like. It's human instead of non-human. Non-human like it's let me change the words. It's evil instead of good. The moral order is evil instead of good. That's why the Republicans have reverted to evil to defeat evil. So typically the Republicans supporting Trump, the MAGA people, they're not college graduates. That's who you usually hear non-college graduates interviewed. And so they don't even know what the other side's talking about. Nobody even takes the time to explain in ordinary language. Maybe they can't, because they learned it with that language, and so they're going to teach it that way. That's why I made a video explaining how it is that the air warms up from greenhouse gases. And it's very simple. I made it too complex. It's just that the greenhouse gases that we're dumping into the air absorb infrared radiation. They absorb heat. Where the normal air, it doesn't absorb heat. The heat goes right through it into outer space. Right out the top of the sky. But with greenhouse gases, they absorb the heat that the Earth is giving off. Everybody can understand now. See what I mean? So the Republicans are worried about if we are concerned with the Earth's future, we're going to die today. We're going to be in poverty. Or what? I don't know. Like, the Democrats are going to have all this power, and they're going to tell us what we can do and when we can do it and where we can do it, and all of our freedom will be gone. And they're not fair. That's the key. The truth to the Republicans is that the Democrats are going to be unfair to them. So they're willing to side with evil using lies. That's evil. Unfairness. To stop the Democrats from being unfair to them. You see my point? So if we have this system where we all care about each other and we all agree to not do each other wrong, then the Republicans are not going to turn against the Democrats, and the Democrats are not going to turn against the Republicans. And you can apply that to everywhere. And religions are not going to be against religions. We're not going to be against communists, and they're not going to be against us, and so forth. Thanks for listening.